I always wondered why some sexualities were frowned upon.
I've always wondered why there are so many people in need and so many
what
more
we don't
people who
need.
are
People
unwilling to
look at
help.
others differently.
People are always wanting such a passion to something to have the support system still exist.
I always wondered why people joke about rape, mental illnesses, people's race and their sexuality.
I always wondered why any act of kindness can be overshadowed by any great act of violence.
I've always wondered why there is so much stigma attached to mental illness when so many of us have personal experience with it.
I always wondered why there are such large gender boundaries in society.
I always wondered why some people didn't bring lunch and recess foods to school.
I always wondered why we are so quick to judge those who escape torment and despair and who are desperate to share the freedoms that we enjoy.
I always wondered why girls are so afraid of participating in front of boys with sport.
So I've always wondered why students at our schools like to name call each other with debasing language.
I always wondered why women lack some opportunities.
I always wondered why students in different year levels are so disconnected from each other. As a Year 12, I can't talk to Year 7s without people frowning on it.
Then I realised that this inequality has been going on for centuries.
But then I realised that there's already prejudgment in society and people do not stand up to the beliefs.
Then I realised that people aren't educated with the facts behind these issues and are often influenced by social media.
Then I realised that people find themselves enslaved by these weird societal rules and that they follow these things that no one actually says and we all feel like we'll be ridiculed if we break them.
Then I realized people are afraid to speak up, afraid of being stereotyped, so they choose silence over shame.
And then I realised our culture, the Australian culture, glorifies this use of perverse, colourful language.
But then I realised some people just aren't fortunate enough to buy it themselves.
But then I realised maybe there isn't enough kindness in our communities to begin with.
And then I realised self-confidence is often shunned upon and not appreciated.
Then I realised people are often so quick to seek to find difference rather than similarity and embrace each other's differences.
So one thing I will do is use my leadership position at school to start a mental well-being club. I will speak of mental illness in assemblies and eradicate the stigma that surrounds mental illness.
So one little thing I'm going to do is encourage my fellow peers at school to use more sophisticated language to uplift one another.
So one little thing I'll do is contact womeningippsland.com.au and organise a Christmas breakfast so that schoolgirls can come together and be inspired by these women.
So one small thing I'll do is raise my voice and show people females can do the same thing as males do.
So the one little thing that I'll do is make sure that people are educated with the truth behind these problems and present this to my fellow peers.
So one little thing I'm going to do is I'll work to bridge the gap between different year levels so that when I meet someone, I'm judged by my humanity, not by how old I am.
So one little thing I'll do is always encourage girls to participate in sport and lead by example.
So one little thing I'll do is promote goodwill through social media.
One little thing that I will do is I'll take the food that I don't eat and give it to the school to provide freely to those that can't provide it themselves.
So one little thing I'll do is empower my peers so that together we can make the change that we would like to see in our community.